Hi, this is Lynn Schnebley with Educating with Wisdom, and I am the ambassador for Heaven's creating and protecting goddesses and archangels over life. My question is, and I know that this may garnish some responses and some negative ones, but the question is, should the current Prime Minister of England or the UK, Boris Johnson, resign? Now, I understand Mr. Johnson is ill in the hospital. And I find that there is this virus that's going around. I'm sorry to hear that he has become ill. I'm sorry that his girlfriend has become ill. But it doesn't change the fact that last month I was still calling upon his resignation. And it's for national and global security purposes. It's also in order for him to get his home together. Because being Prime Minister of the UK is not the time to put his children, himself, and everything out there. He's got a lot going on. But what concerns me most is what he has probably been involved in, and as well as getting his family ducks in a row, he needs to be able to address his culpability in the following areas. I'm looking at what was his role in the election shenanigans that went on against Mrs. Clinton, because there was a clear British election shenanigan that was going on that sort of trails in his direction, the Crown and Barack Obama. Two, there are very clear shenanigans that went on with the British and with Mr. Obama in terms of the impeachment proceedings and the attacks on President Trump from day one. Now, I understand a lot of people don't like President Trump. I understand that, and I've made it clear why I needed to vote for him, because I knew Hillary Clinton was going to be impeached, and yet I am saying that both of them should be co-president at this point. This is where we need to go in terms of the development globally, a male and a female president. But coming back from this now, let me make something clear about Mr. Trump. Mr. Trump, whether you like it or not, whether you like what the industrialists do, and I certainly don't, the paradigm should have shifted, but they do hustle out deals, and they do try to provide jobs and food on your table, which is exactly what occurred with Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew was, you want to call him the scapegoat, one of the great scapegoats of the British, and he had to basically prostitute himself so that Epstein and the Israeli, have their King Solomon routines going on with their sex, whatever they have going on, and you had to go through him in order to get the deals and part of the New Deal. Well, that's what happened to Andrew, and Andrew was born into that position. Prince Charles was born into a position that he wished he had not been in. Queen Elizabeth has repeatedly said, like nobody really, if they knew the job, they wouldn't want it. So Boris Johnson doesn't have an excuse for some of his behavior. These other people, it's thrusted upon them, or these other people are actually really out there, making deals, doing their shenanigans, but are actually working collectively to sort of provide people with something. Boris Johnson has none of that history. He has a press background, he has a PR background, he has some ancient history background, and we know that he is a fan of Rome, Greece. We know how well they treated women, and we know how they treated their colonies, and we know how they treated their slaves. And he has these ideas of the great British Empire coming back. He could very well be part of the deal with Barack Obama. So there's a lot of negativity going on with his mindset. His mindset is not modern, and his treatment of women is terrible. He has had 2 marriages, had a horrible affair when he was married with his wife, with other women, and you kept voting him into office. Wow. And you complain about American politics. Holy smokes. Think about that. You kept voting him into office. All right? His girlfriend, Miss Carrie Summers, I guess, she is pregnant. Obviously, he doesn't care about the feelings of his own children, his older children, because his life is a soap opera going on in front of the media. And you have him in public office. But you have a problem with the crown and everything else that they do. He has so many shenanigans going on. We have no idea how many illegitimate children he may have. He believes that men should not have to be tied down to one woman, and he isn't, okay? And it's okay when we talk about sexism that his wife of 25 years, which is his second wife, and his 4 children were dragged down in front of this whole thing. Meanwhile, he has a 30-year-old and a 31-year-old that just happens to be in charge of all of the press releases for the Tories. He takes up, and I'm just looking at it. Why would you vote for him? Seriously, folks, why would you do that? And he is a walking blackmail target. So if you thought Prince Harry was a problem, or if you think, and okay, he got tied up into it because of his family position, and if you thought Prince Charles or Prince Andrew was a problem, they're at least born into a responsible position that they don't know how to get out of. And Trump did not act this way while in office. Did not. Even though I don't like many of his prior choices, he did not act like this while he was in office. This man has done all these things, and we don't know what else. So in terms of blackmail, he's got a big sign on his family that says, "Get me." And he's got too many ties to undermining, too many ties with the people that he hangs with, to undermining what went on in the United States. And as a former, and if I'm claiming reincarnated possibility, Elizabeth I taking over that church, there's like no way I'm accepting this chauvinistic, philandering, irresponsible individual as the PM of the UK. Are you serious? I mean, think about it. And his partner, do you think does she show concern about his children? And she's sitting in 10 Downing Street. She has her, I mean, it's like putting Monica Lewinsky in. Really, would you like her to know all of the ins and outs and the confidentialities of going on in your country? Is this a responsible person? But she's there. You did it. Now, Mr. Dominic Raab and Erica Ray, and I know they have Jewish backgrounds, or, yeah, but at least they're an Adam unit. There's nothing that says to me that this is an irresponsible group. But I'm very concerned, more than concerned. I don't trust this man's judgment and his Greater Britannia kind of mentality and his Apollo and Greek and and the eye of wherever it was from Tolkien, Lord of the, Lord of the wherever, because his eye wasn't there in Parliament, they couldn't act right. I mean, he's got too much occult. He's got too many issues. All right, now this brings me to another area. Some people are going to say, I can't believe you voted for him. I can't believe you complain about Trump and Hillary Clinton. And look who you vote for. It's incredible. I mean, it's just incredible. Alrighty, here we go. I have a problem with the deals that were put forth in terms of opening up my records going out and having a 3-year moratorium, which I do believe the Queen agreed to, and I believe that Miss May, the British Prime Minister, would have agreed to, but I believe you undermined what she helped to set up and what she could have gotten forward in terms of bringing Australia and New Zealand, offering that up into Canada, joining England into this area, helping to unify then the North America with the Spanish, okay? And freeing up that area in Australia so that the Chinese could use it, so that now we have geo-regionalization. And I know that in terms of Mr. Johnson's Greater Britannia and what Mr. Obama and other globalists wanted to do, which is perhaps knock off most of the average person, I'm not sure, but it didn't ride with his policies. So I don't believe, to give you some idea of how Fiona Hill walked into Congress with a red dress on and a penis with an erection that I have a picture of. It's all on stage. Now, ask yourself, why would the United States have a psychopathic British drag queen in charge of the Booking Institute who was in Bill Clinton's nose, in other presidents' nose? Why do Americans have to deal with this kind of psychopathy? And why are the British doing it? And are the Americans doing it too? Two, she was actively with other British people and with other people within the LGBTQ community, actively attacking Trump from day one, and me. Now, that is clearly a psychopath. And none of the press reported on it. We have too many problems going on there. Right this minute, I would prefer to see the second, like we need a second female president to deal with this and not just men. We need to have Miss May back in, another Adam unit. She and her husband are legitimately married, they're stable. We need stable people. I understand Mr. Rayab is there. But Mr. Johnson has too many loose ends. And he should be looking after his own children at this time. Getting that right. If he can't get that right, he's not going to get you right. All right, Jesus. As we come upon Easter, whether or not you agree with the whole story, Jesus is a real being. That some of it is missing. I'm a whistleblower. There's a lot of me missing, and I have my documents too. But there is no UK without Jesus. We can't get by with red dragons and bibbidi-bobbidi-boo. And the New Age Aquarius has nothing to do. That 4 actually has nothing to do with Aquarius. It has to do with the 4th house, which is what you call Cancer, which is the home and the family. This is why it's schisming so. Poor Miss May didn't even get invited to that royal wedding. She was treated like garbage by this group of people. All right. There is no Jesus. And this man is clearly has no history of religious belief other than belief in himself and crazy slutty gods that he uses as an example in life. Think about that. Apollo, the slut god. Zeus, the slut god. And that just happens to be, and his bibbidi-bobbidi-boo witchcraft religion. Think about that. Let me see what else. I think I have, I already said he's a terrible family model. And I'm saying this and I'm speaking ahead here because I'm still going to put this up. And I'm still cyberstalked and cyber monitored. Boris Johnson, we dealt with his fidelity. All right. Oh, his Eastern beliefs regarding marriage. I'm sorry this is rambling. He has come out that he believes that his values, he believes in his Turkish values and his Eastern beliefs in marriage, and no man should be tied down to one woman. And I'm asking British women to really think about that. You know, the rest of that behavior. Think about what's going on. And when you speak and poke fun of Mr. Trump, think about Boris Johnson. Alrighty, I think that that's it. So I really think Mr. Johnson, and I do hope that he gets better, should take up the offer of a 3-year moratorium to out what he knows. And he may very well do more in life in that capacity than he can continuing down the direction that he's going in. So I pray that when this offer goes out, that he will take that one up. And I pray that he does a better job of looking after his family, even though he's not crazy about a one-woman situation. He's got a problem with me because I do the Noah hide. Bye. Oh, Boris doesn't have, oh, before I forget, Mr. Trump made his decisions before some of this information came out. Boris Johnson has always known about it. He's known about this since I've been out there discussing these things. There's nothing new to him.